What's going on, guys? My name is Tyler Glennon. If you don't know who I am, I'm at Real Financial with Brad Lee and Andy Elliott. Guys, last year at the company, I was able to outsell everybody by over 6 figures. This year is my goal to teach as many other people what I've been able to learn in that amount of time, hopefully shorten everybody else's learning curves. Guys, follow me on Instagram, Tyler_Glennon, blasting out content, having fun with it, just trying to help people be able to get to where they want to go in a short amount of time than I was able to do it. Guys, don't forget, like and subscribe. And if you want any more information on Real Financial, shoot me a text, 610-235-3037. All right, guys, we're going to be talking about the top areas to track if you're a life insurance sales rep, if you're making outbound dials, and you're just trying to communicate with people and try to increase the amount of profit that you have, the amount of families that you protect, and just your activity level and your volume in general. All right, guys, so the first thing that I like to track, and I'm going to go through what I track, why I track it, why it's important. The first thing that I like to track is the amount of dials that I make. I want to know how much activity that I have. The second thing is those quality conversations. So people that were actually open-minded, I felt like I had a good conversation with, they were receptive, and I felt like, they're actually going to do something about this soon and they're going to get it, right? The amount of presentations that I make, I want to know how many times I'm presenting. I want to know my presentation percentage, my closing percentage, and then the amount of sales that I actually get from those presentations. So if you notice, it's just tapered down the process, how many people I can get in the door, how many people I get to the stairwell, how many people I get to the top of the stairs, and how many people that I get to, the next set of stairs, or whatever the comparison is, right? So the first thing that I want to talk about is knowing your inputs and your outputs. And it's incredibly powerful to understand the numbers. When I started, it was just dial as much as possible to learn as much as possible. And that's great. So when I got started, I was just hammering the phones for 10, 12 hours a day trying to figure it out. And that was great, and I was learning, and at the beginning I was doing it part-time, but then when I started really full-time, I was doing this. And what I realized is I had no idea what to expect every single day. I was like, hopefully I find another sale, like I wonder if I'm going to get one today. And I didn't know when to expect a sale, at what point it was normal to get a sale, at what point it wasn't normal to get a sale. So when I would go 2-3 days without one, I'd be like, man, like one's coming hopefully soon, maybe, possibly, right? And I was confused. So what gave me a lot of clarity is when I started to track the numbers and I started to understand when I made this many calls, I got this many quality conversations. And then when I got this many quality conversations, I started to see this many presentations. And when I started to see this many presentations, this percent of people bought. How cool is that? Now I can understand that. So when I know how many dials I have to make and I can reverse engineer all my goals, I can say, man, I know that when I make 350 dials, I can get 2 sales typically. That's really cool, and it's really powerful, because then I can say, well, how long does it take me to typically make 350 dials? 6-7 hours? Man, I can work 6-7 hours and find just about 2 sales on average. That's really cool. Now I can reverse engineer my goals. I can structure my day differently. I can start to prep and plan, and it gives me a whole lot of clarity in between my ears, and I don't feel as insane as hopefully I get one today, right? And not knowing what works. So understanding what you put in is going to give you your outputs inside your business. That's really, really powerful, guys, because then you can start to make adjustments. You can start to try to increase these percentages by getting better, developing the skill set, because we are after the skill set and not the layups. We are after the relationships and not the sales, because that is what is going to long-term be able to lead us to the results that we want, okay? And then like I just kind of talked about right here, the second point is that I'm going to be trying to plan out my goals in advance. I'm going to reverse engineer everything. So if I want to sell 40,000 in premium in a month, and there's 4 weeks, that's 10,000 each week, then I know that I'm going to have to make this many sales, because my average annual premium is going to be X, or let's just call it 1,000, and my average annual premium is 1,000. So then I'm going to have to sell 10 policies, and I know that every time I make 350 dials, I sell 2 policies. So then I have to sell 10 policies to hit $40,000 in a week to hit my goal for the month, which means that if I make 350 dials per day for 5 days out of the week, then I'm going to be able to hit my 10,000 per week on average and get to my 40,000 a month goal. The amount of clarity in that process, knowing what your numbers are and the consistent averages, and there's always going to be above average days and weeks, and there's always going to be below average days and weeks, but when you do it long enough, there's always that average, those numbers that stay the same no matter what, no matter if there's an outlier here today or an outlier here next week or tomorrow, there's an average, right? We're shooting for the average, so we're playing the numbers game. And that gives you so much clarity, so much confidence to be able to go out there and really make those decisions that are going to drive those results inside your business. You can start to focus on those day-to-day money-making activities. And the third point, guys, is you want to know your numbers so you can track them and grow those numbers. If my closing percent is 20% and I know that every time I present 10 times I'm going to close 2 people, I'm like, man, I got a whole lot of room to grow. I can get a lot better. So what I want to do is start to track this stuff and play a little game with myself. I'm going to be like, hey, I was at 20% last week or last month. This month, I'm going to take it to 35. How powerful would that be? How much of a bigger ROI would you get inside your business, right? So I started to play games with myself when I was starting, once I started to track all this stuff so I could understand where I was, where I wanted to go, and the results that I was after by reverse engineering those goals again. If I could write 40, if I could sell 2 policies every $350, what if I sold 3? What would my results be, right? I'm getting the same amount of leads, but I'm getting a higher ROI because I'm selling more people, I'm selling more policies, I'm helping more families, right? And that's the game. We want to build that skill set so we can do those things. But I only understand if I'm growing, if I'm tracking. What gets measured gets adjusted. It gets grown. What you pay attention to is what grows, right? So I want to pay attention to the numbers. I want to understand the data, and I want to make decisions based off of my data. Am I happy with my results? No? Cool, man. What can I do differently? What areas am I looking at that are not as successful as I want them to be? Where am I leaving money on the table? Okay? And the important pieces of why this is, going to work and it's going to help you increase your numbers are you're not going to be winging it. You're going to know the inputs, you're going to know the outputs, you're going to understand the data, and you're going to reverse engineer all the decisions that you're making inside your business to help you get to where you want to go. The second piece is it's going to become predictable. The business gets really fun when it's predictable. And at the beginning, you are just winging it. You're running around like a chicken with your head cut off because you don't know any better. But as you get better, as you grow, you start to track these things, you start to understand the data, you start to understand when I put in this much effort, when I hear this objection, this works, this doesn't, so you can start to understand what's working and what's not. And then, is just to continue to update and to grow those numbers, guys. You want to do this because it's going to become competitive with yourself if you're anything like me, and you're going to start to have fun inside of your business by getting better, and you're going to start to see these little micro wins, and it's going to feel good. And then I'm going to keep on trying to grow and keep on trying to get better, and it's going to be cool and it's going to be fun because now you're starting to see results, you're starting to see money stack up, you're starting to see that the more families helped, and your ROI is going to be a lot higher, guys. All right, guys, I really hope this video helps you guys because one thing that I did not do when I got started was track anything. And I'm really, really glad that I started to when I did because if I waited, I don't think I would be where I am today at this point in time. So, guys, follow me on Instagram, Tyler_Glennon. Guys, if you want any more info on Real Financial, feel free to shoot me a text, 610-235-3037. Again, guys, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.